Hi, my name's Omid Daryani. I'm the Senior Brand Manager for the EverQuest franchise. Welcome to the Roundtable. With me today is Terry Michaels, Senior Producer of EverQuest Next and Landmark.
Hello, everybody.
And today we're talking about the question of how should weather work in the game? Should it be immersive? How much of an impact should it have?
Right, well, it's both weather and systems.
Right.
So it's one of those things that Landmark and EverQuest Next are, they're created on a technology that allows us to do things that we haven't seen in other games. You know, with the dynamic world and the ability to change things on the fly, we can really push things in new ways. So what we wanted to do is get an idea of, one, how much people actually cared about this, as well as what ways you guys would like to see this impact the world. You know, and each of the games behaves very differently, so we wanted to focus in on the Landmark question first.
Because it's first.
Because it's already out there and people can play it, so, you know, what kind of ways would they like to see the world change based on these factors?
Yeah, and so we got that initial answer, right?
Right.
And the answer was resoundingly, I want immersion. I want it to be a real part of the world. And then some amount of people also said, you know, not impacting the world, but they wanted to see it. But the
Right.
vast majority of people just want it to be immersive.
Yeah, I think actually this question had the most people voting in one way over any question by far that we've had on the roundtable up until now.
Yeah.
It was really, you know, we thought that this was going to be the case, you know, but you're never really sure until you put the question out there and get the answers from everybody.
So right now, Landmark is in alpha. There's not really weather in it yet.
Nope.
So can you tell us where we're going with it and what the thinking is right now?
Well, first off, weather's not on the immediate roadmap, which we've put out there, and you can take a look at on the forums to see what we're working on over the next few months. It's not that we're not working on it. It's not that we're not thinking about it. It's just that it's not due to be delivered in the near time frame.
Yeah, we don't view it as a core system.
Right. You know, it's definitely going to be a good part of the world, but it's not something that, you know, needs to come in before, say, you know, groups or guilds or things like that.
I think we would all agree we would rather have guilds than rain.
Which is basically how we've put together the roadmap on what are the most important things so that we can start talking about those. But with weather, you know, we're already talking about ways in which it can impact the world. As a matter of fact, I just got off the phone yesterday with Jeremy Soule, where we were talking about this very thing. You know, whether or not music could be changed based on the weather in the world or the season, you know, so that we can actually have a much more immersive world, like you were talking about, you know, through things like music and sound effects and, you know, lighting and all those sorts of things. So it's always, it's fun to see everybody coming to the same place on these discussions.
And so one question that I've seen a few times, one suggestion a few times, is the idea of, you know, having weather affect the world for real, you know, snow accumulate, floods, things like that. Is that something that we're thinking about?
Only in the long term, right? These are ideas that would be great to have in a game, and it's something that we can actually do with the technology that we're using to make Landmark. But that's a long-term goal for us, right? We're first going to focus in on, you know, the dynamic weather that changes, like I said, you know, the feeling of the world, the environmental sort of changes, not the physical changes into the world. It's something that after we've gotten everything else in, we can then start to talk about things that we might be able to do. I know everybody that has worked with me on EQ has joked for years about the fact that they wanted water to pool up and snow to gather on the top of the house and stuff like that. And for years I always told them no, because in EverQuest we couldn't do that, you know, in the original one. But in this game, it's something we can actually consider. Now, it's expensive. You know, by no means would I say that it's something simple to do, but we can actually entertain those notions, those ideas, and see if it actually makes sense to put in the game.
Right, and one of the things that I hadn't really thought about until we were talking about this is that when you have an environmental economy, I guess is the only way to put it, you actually have to design that system fully.
Yep.
You know, whereas if you're going to have an environment where it's rainy or cloudy or things like that, that's almost more like a show. And once there's like a distribution of water related to, you know, how much water there is in the world, that's a tremendous amount of work for people.
Well, yeah, and there's a very big difference between something like, for instance, having the world change because it's snowing so that you see a little bit of snow on the ground so that it actually looks different, and then having it pile up and have an impact on your ability to travel or move around or anything like that. And those things all have to be balanced very carefully.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to have to shovel out my claim.
No, I don't think anybody wants to have to do that. Maybe we can make like a bulldozer that pushes all the snow off your claim. It's an automated thing. It's like the little robots that vacuum your house.
Yeah.
Except this is a snow a snow pusher.
All right, well, we'll work on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so this is what we're thinking about with the weather. I think what we would love to hear from you is more examples, like more ideas of how the weather should affect your gameplay. How much do you want to see it when you're building versus not building? And give us some ideas if you have other ways that weather can impact the world. We would love to hear that from you.
Yep.
So thank you guys very much for joining us. We appreciate it always. Thank you, Terry, for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next week on the Roundtable.
Take it easy, guys.